this board meeting to order. Ask that you stand. Ask Mr. Davidson if he would lead us in our prayer and pledge.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you with gratitude in our hearts, Lord, for the day that you provided us and for the many blessings that go along with that. Father, as we endeavor to conduct the business of the Wayne County Board of Education, we seek guidance and wisdom, and we pray that the decisions that we make tonight will be in your will, Lord. And forgive us for we failure. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dean?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to approve the minutes from the October 23rd meeting.
So moved. Second.
Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Dean?
Yes, ma'am.
Discussion and information.
Yes, sir, we have some representatives from Proform Sports. I think Mr. Dumas, I've spoken to him on the phone. If you want to come forward and introduce the folks you have with us and tell us what we have.
Greetings, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. How are you? I want to say thank you to the board for giving us this opportunity to present something to you that hopefully, on my behalf, I can honestly say that it's something special for me because my family is actually from this area. My mom and dad were born in Wayne County, Jessup, Georgia. And we were the first generation born outside of here into New York. I was the first generation born in New York. So to have this opportunity to be able to present this for our students, student athletes, and this board is a special dynamic to me. Originally, how this came to me, I got an opportunity to meet a couple of people who just wanted to find out how we can assist in bringing a track facility, a track, and possibly a field as well, because being the regional champions this year and the past several years, bringing it all together, because what I understand and what Proform Sports understands is that normally those fields are not done one without the other. It's not done separate. My background is 2004, I had the opportunity to be a part of the United States Olympic team in Athens, Greece. I'm also associate head coach here at Morehouse College in Atlanta as track and field and cross country. Also been hired cross seas as an Olympic coach on several different countries as well. These gentlemen with me, I can tell you, I've had the opportunity to work with them around the world, and this is how we met actually. Proform Sports is a company that literally can produce or bring forth anything that you need as it pertains to field, tracks, anything in that nature. I'm introducing them to you because of my personal feeling about this town, Jessup. Right now, I still have many family members here. Ever since I was 5 years old, I had the opportunity to visit here every summer. So what I want to do is not take much more of your time and give you an understanding about what these gentlemen can present to Wayne County, and to hopefully get the opportunity, along with the understanding of how their product is a world-renowned product. And I think that there's no reason why that Wayne County High School should not be first class at everything it does. And I'm going to hand the baton over to these gentlemen so that they can give you the product in which you, and hopefully that you understand that is needed in this particular area, okay? So first I'm going to introduce them. We have the world-renowned Harvey Glantz. Harvey Glantz is a former Olympian. He's a former world record holder in 100 meters. He's represented many of our Olympic teams in the last 20 years plus. Also as a Olympic team member. I've known Harvey Glantz since about 2004. 2009, he was the World Championship USA coach for the United States. I think that was one of the first times we had the most gold medals during that time for the World Championships for the United States. One of the part of Perform Sports can definitely a member that can give us understanding of what it's going to take in reference to having a first-class facility here in Wayne County. Also, talked to Scott Bird. Scott Bird is a designer, and he's also one of the members of Perform Sports. He's one of the individuals. He has some diagrams that he wants you to look at as well as presenting them to you as well. And the CEO met this gentleman several years ago on being able to do a project in Atlanta, and we've been working ever since with each other in my home school at Morehouse College, so that we can get first-class facility there as well. And I can tell you, I would not bring these gentlemen to you if I didn't trust them, if I didn't know their product was world class, first class, and something that can definitely help and assist us what we want to do in Wayne County. I said help and assist us because of my lineage is here, it's always been here, and it's still here. So hopefully we can get something done and corrected. And I'm gonna bring the CEO, Gary Wilson, up front for you to introduce you to this company. Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys, for allowing us to come here tonight. We drove a long way over here, so and we've been talking about it for about I guess a couple of weeks now. It was brought to my attention from Chris that you guys were interested in doing some things, and your success in your athletic programs, your football program especially. However, I'm from Cartersville, Georgia, so we've got a pretty good football team there too. So, but and the need for a running track here, which was paramount in the process. You know, track and field is probably one of the most unrecognized sports there is, the biggest participation sport. A lot of people in the community use the facility. It's something that communities like to have, and your PE class is not just your sports, but it does bring a lot of attention to the school and what you do in terms of how you put things together for your athletes. Chris also mentioned about having a running track facility, and it's not uncommon to have a field associated with it. In today's athletics, most track and field programs have either a soccer field or a track that's associated with one another. They're both synthetic in nature. Our products are second to none. Most of our products, especially our running track surfacing, is prominent in Europe and the United States at the highest level of the IAAF. Our artificial turf is manufactured in North Georgia by us. We are a manufacturer of our own product. And when you talk about putting a running track in a stadium, the new kind of trend in this state and most of the highest level programs is to typically have a facility that accommodates both things. And sometimes track and field and football and soccer, they don't all work together with each other. Everybody gets into an argument. You got rec uses, you got PE uses in athletics. And to be able to accommodate everyone, typically most of the trend now is to have a football field separate from a track facility. And typically the tracks don't work very well inside of a football facility because of the radius points and the differentiation, the orientation of the product, the way it needs to be designed and laid out, drainage issues, site issues, spectator issues, safety issues, with the concrete curbings, etc. Typically we do track stadiums, track fields away from football facilities moving forward. We have brought some samples with us today, and wanted to share those with you. And have questions, you guys feel free to answer. I wanted to mention some more about Coach Scott Bird here, also about Harvey Lance. He was also the head track and field coach at the University of Alabama, Auburn University, gold medalist. At one point was known as the fastest man in the world, could jump over a Volkswagen flat-footed from front end to back end. He can't do it anymore. We talked about that earlier. But, yeah, there you go. He also coaches the world's gold medalist, Karani James, a 400-meter guy who's pretty good in his own right. Coach Bird here, Coach Bird is not just a member of Perform Sports, but he's one of the top level coaches at every level in the United States in Division II. He's won several national championships, indoor and outdoor. He's been Coach of the Year several times at the highest level. He's coached a lot of high-level All-Americans as well. So I'm really happy to be associated with these guys. We came out and handpicked a good crew of people. I've been in this business 30 years. My background's in the NFL. I worked professionally at several NFL teams as a scout, administrator, coached, got fired and hired. So in the last 20 years, I've been working in the track and field business, so it's a little more secure than coaching at that level, so you get fired so much. But again, we want to talk about some of the products we have and possibly some of the budget items you guys might be concerned with, where we can offer some assistance, what we can do separately. We like to put a footprint in a community. We like to go and select partners to work with, just like you like to select partners. So we like to come in here and say, hey, we can have a showplace in this part of the state, and really enlist some good eyes on you. Our headquarters is in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm not a fan of Florida State, so don't blame me for that. But we operate out of Georgia. We have our turf plant in North Georgia, so we are Georgia residents. So with that said, I'd like to invite Coach Bird up here and talk about some of the products for a second.
I'd like to thank Chris for such a nice introduction here. I am a native Georgian, also of Fayette County High School.
Gary Wilson.
There's also, I think, a gentleman that coaches at Whitewater High School that actually head coach here that went to Wayne County. So from what I understand, he's kind of a legend here. But anyway, my brother coaches with him, and that's my relationship with him. A little bit about what Gary said about our company and about the things he's wanting to do as far as being involved in the community. I want to tell you some firsthand experience with this. He may not even know, he doesn't know I'm going to say this, but I'm going to tell you about it. When we first started the track program, I guess it was back in 2006, we would take our collegiate team and go from one high school to the next and run. And we had vans, and this happened every day, sometimes 3 times a day. That's how I met Mr. Wilson. I met Gary, and I don't know if he felt sorry for us or if he just liked us, but he is, at that time, as president of the company that he was with, the turf company. He set forth to start trying to build us a track. We won a national championship, actually, going from schools to schools. And when he says he wants to get involved in the community, whether it be via a SPLOST or via raising money or putting money back into the community, whether it be for sponsorships and sports, I can promise you he does that. I saw firsthand what he was able to do with our community and how he took our program from a small little program into a national contender year after year. So I think that's important for everybody to understand that track is the #1 sport in the state of Georgia for women as far as participation. Track is the #2 sport in participation for men. As far as actual participants that do exercise on a daily basis, it is the highest level as far as numbers go in the United States for active people, whether it be walking, running, jogging, or doing something at a track. So anytime you put a track in, it's going to help the community. Like I said, as far as what you've got in participation, whether it be in elementary, middle school, or high school, you'll see an increased participation, especially when you put in something that's brand new and shiny. We offer several products, but the product we're going to show you tonight is top of the line. This is our, this is called our Coniper right here. This is our Coniper M, and as you can see, it comes in different colors. Now, I happen to know that y'all are the Yellow Jackets, am I correct? So we can actually put these in colors, whether it be in exchange zones or different zones. Here's a, I know this is your color, but we can, this can be a dark blue, or it could be a black, and you could put these in here as far as your exchange zones, and we can do some things to make it, personalize it and make it yours. These tracks here are top of the line. And let me explain this. IAAF is the governing body for track and field. We currently have 36 level 1, which it may not mean anything to you, but it's the highest ranking of tracks in the world and IAAF Class 1 tracks. So that tells you how good this track is. We're not going to put down what I would call an intermediate type track as far as the surface. We're going to put the best surface we can put in the world. So you'll have a surface that's going to last. You can look out there 10 years from now and see that track's still there and doing the things that we need it to do as far as producing results. Same thing with our turf products. Gary's talked about our turf being made up in North Georgia. In our production facilities, we're going to put in the best turf to give you the longest lasting, highest performance that we can give you. And that goes from the very beginning. That's not just a surface layer that you see here. That's going to go in preparation with the subsurface and the stuff that we're going to do as far as getting this prepared. I'm going to take that. Pass it around. Okay. So all of these things go into putting in a facility that's going to be successful. And what I mean by successful is both in the performance, but it's also in how long this track and this turf is going to last you, because you've got X amount of dollars. It's a major investment for any community, just like it was for us. It took us 5 years to get the money together to do it, and then you want to be able to look back in 10 years that track and that turf field is still performing and giving you the results that you need for your young people, whether it be all the way from K1 through 12. Gary, I can turn it over if you may have questions, if you want to go to and start asking questions.
I'd like to get Coach Glantz to get up and have a few words real quick before we get into that.
Coach is going to come up and jump over the podium.
No.
And, okay. Come on in, Coach.
Good evening, everyone.
As we do a lead drawing for you guys.
I know many of you heard during my introduction that you heard Auburn and Alabama. I was the head track and field coach at Auburn for 10 years. I was the head track and field coach for the University of Alabama for 15 years. People ask me all the time, why did you leave Auburn to go to Alabama? Because they're rivals. And I searched and searched and searched to try to find the answers. And one night I was laying in my bed and I came up with a simple answer. And that simple answer came out to money. They tripled my salary, gave me one single program rather than having two programs, so I didn't have to do twice the work and get 3 times paid the money. So that's why I left Auburn to go to Alabama. I've had a lot of success as an athlete. They may mention being a world record holder. I was indeed a world record holder twice. I won an Olympic gold medal in 1976 in Montreal. I was on a team with Sugar Ray Leonard, Kevin Moses, Michael and Leon Spinks, and also on a team with Caitlyn Jenner. Took a little time to sink in. No, Bruce and I was real good friends, so I coached a kid that ran for me at the University of Alabama. And in London in 2012, he won the Olympic gold medal at 400 meters. I coached him again in Rio, and the last Olympics in 2016, he won the silver medal. And now we're training for 2020 in Tokyo. And Gary and Chris and Bird is right. I've had a lot of experience in the world of track and field. And when it comes to tracks, I can promise you, from dirt to now the up to the date rubberized surfacing, I've competed on it. I made 3 Olympic teams, 1976. I made it again in 1980, but we boycotted because Russia invaded Afghanistan. And I also made the team again in Los Angeles in 1984. So I have a whole lot of experience, both coaching and running, in the sport of track and field. And I've known Gary now for over 30 years, because at the University of Alabama, he put my surface in at the university. And so that developed our relationship from way, way back, and I can vouch for his unbelievable detail. The attention to detail that he has for putting me in the right service. I never would have hired him at the University of Alabama. So when they talk to me about coming down here, now I do a whole lot of things and involved in a whole lot of things. I just flown from Wilmington, North Carolina last night, where I played in the Willie Stardew Celebrity Golf Tournament. And I flew back to Tuscaloosa, drove to Atlanta to make sure I called up these guys to come down here to talk to you, because I feel like this is worth it. I do not want to blow the opportunity to let you know how much I believe in this program, that I would run off 2 or 3 hours of sleep after attending another event to come down to address you. Trust me when I tell you my name will not be affiliated with anything that I would not believe in. So I endorse what they're doing, I endorse this product, and I definitely, because I've known Chris for a long period of time as well, with his family involvement and being growing up here, there's no way I'm gonna miss this opportunity to let you know how much I feel about him and the possibility of having Gary put his name and stamp in this community as well as in the state of Georgia. So without further ado, I've given my little presentation. Thank you again for welcoming us with pretty much open arms. Just like the Mexican restaurant where I got me some chicken fried rice. That's one I never heard of. You know, the Mexican restaurant eating chicken fried rice. I love chicken fried rice. So. But again, thank you for your time. I know that you have a lot on your agenda probably. So without further ado, thank you very much.
Mr. Glantz, Nick wants to race you after the board meeting. And I want to see you about some Iron Bowl tickets.
Okay.
Just kidding. Thank you for coming.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'd like to ask everybody now if you have any questions, concerns.
I'd like to make the comment.
Okay.
We put this project out for bid, I guess, it's been over a year ago. And financially, things changed in our Board of Education, and we're now to the point where we're ready to go back probably in the next 2 or 3 months through the bidding process. But one decision that we're going to have to make as a board is the location of this track.
Right.
There's one train of thought that we need it at the high school, and I certainly understand that. But from a financials perspective, if we build a new track at the high school, we're still stuck with the old track at our stadium that's unserviceable, and then many times it's a safety factor to even get to your seats. So as a board, we're gonna have to come together and make a sound financial decision and weigh out these options. So I know you said that many big-time tracks don't incorporate the football surface, but I did see you had some photographs in there. So you guys will, we're gonna have to give y'all some guidance in the near future before you can put together your bid package. But I think it's a hot topic of discussion in the community about how we're gonna go about this project and get the most for our money.
Right.
And so in the near future, I guess we'll be coming, try to make that type of decision.
Yeah, I understand your pain here with that decision, because that does happen. You have an existing facility with a track that's unserviceable. And when you're starting with a brand new track, the way I promoted it was probably the best way to go. But since you have that, can't blow it all up.
Well, again, I'm not saying that the decision has not been made in one way or the other. Both sides obviously have merit.
Right.
But again, as stewards of the taxpayers' money, we have to, do what is economically in the best interest of the taxpayers as well. So.
I got a question on that. What is the feasibility of placing and putting the amount of money that needs to be put into that track at the current stadium? What is the feasibility of that over a time period, as well as economically the movement of the structures that would have to be moved in order to put in an 8-lane track, the way it should be put in order to have people who want to come in and have track meets so that we can get revenue back from our investment?
First of all, I would say that we would preliminarily write a scope of work that we propose prior to you putting out the solicitation for bid. And my advice, we do a lot. I've built all the tracks in Richmond County, Dougherty County, Douglas County, Bartow County, Fulton County, City of Atlanta. And I can tell you, we've seen a lot of things like this. We can write a scope of work. What we've seen them do in a lot of places, do requests for RFPs. That way you know you've got your own scope of work. You know you can manage and control that. You know, the best man come with the best scope of work he's got that fits in your feasibility study and your pocket. So I encourage that because that challenges us to be the best we can be at what we present to you. If we go in as a solicited bidder and we're fighting against competitors who are just going to give you anything for the sake of giving you a low bid. However, we're conscious and focused on financing, pricing, and you know, the pockets of the taxpayers. So we know where the budgets sit in most places. We don't know, I don't know yours, but obviously I know what the cost of this would be right now going into it. So with that said, there are a lot of things that we can create, give you value, added value to it, that you might not get from someone else because we do want a footprint there.
Here, you guys commented about the durability of your product.
Yes.
The samples that you passed out, what kind of warranty do they come with?
Well, tracks are made of different types of products. Primarily, that track surface is polyurethane. Polyurethane is made in the soles of your shoes. Rubber's on the heels of your feet. So the bottom line is that you got latex tracks, which are glue, et cetera. They're sort of the entry levels. Then you have sheet rubber, then you have polyurethane. Polyurethane is probably the best for injury protection, training, and speed for competition. So the durability of a polyurethane track has got a better life cycle than any of the other products. You're talking about a track that's 10 years before you need to resurface it at year 5. And in our case, we'll give you a 10-year warranty. We'll restripe this thing twice in that 10-year warranty period of time. That's guaranteed on high stress areas. If you notice this, most of you guys walk on tracks. Your track lane 1 seems to wear out easier, your runways for your jumps and all those things. We'll come in during that warranty period free of charge because that's typically a material issue. We'll come in and kind of dress those areas up so you don't have any issues. There's highly spike resistant properties that we put into these surfaces so it shows less wear and tear.
Would it be like a sanding operation when you talk about dressing it up?
Well, that's a good question. We come in and we grind down a certain area with a grinder, and this is a fluid applied product, which is that poured in place. There are no seams in this track. So in this case, we grind down a little bit and we reapply the fluid and then broadcast the rubber on top, which gives you rubberized granules on top. It's a solid depth polyurethane, so the colors are true all the way through. A lot of ways we can do this. So.
Got another question for you. How does wasting like Coke, gum, those type of things, how does that affect the warranty?
It won't. And you know, we recognize this as a school. You got kids here. I got kids at school and all this stuff. I get all that. They're gonna get it there. You can't hire police to watch them when they come. You can only make sure we put signs up and deter them from that and threaten them a little bit.
I guess what I'm
However,
asking,
they clean
in a football stadium where your concession stand is primarily on the track at the 100-meter start area, and you're gonna have constant wasting and
Right.
dropping and that type of thing on that area. That was the reason I'm the person who am interested in going to the high school because of one, as a good steward of our taxpayers' money, I'm looking out for the kids.
Right.
And it's gonna get the most use from the kids at that site. And I know we've gotta have a conversation once again about it, but we had already decided it was gonna be there and all that type of thing, but we're gonna discuss it again. But I'm still firm on, I feel like for the bang for the buck, it's best there. Also, he is also showing us about the turf. We talked, there was concern about the area, the playing surface area, the practice surface area at the practice field. You have a turf there, hey, you solve that. You don't have to worry about the football coach having to put in stripes for his practice. He's got permanent stripes there, as well as your soccer team. They also have permanent markers there as well.
As you guys know, you don't cut it, you don't water it. You don't have to have the football coach doing it. We don't have the maintenance guys in charge to do it. I mean, so you can turn it over, pay for play. You can bring in camp, do things you can't normally do with other types of ground. So you know that you got a better opportunity to make your money back with that. And the life cycle of turf is about 8 years. It's only as good as you groom it. With a turf field, we provide a groomer that's a specialized piece of equipment that combs it out and grooms it. And to answer your question about the running track surfacing, we power wash these. And what we do is we take these rubber granules, if I could borrow this track sample display with me. We use a neutral pH cleaner on this when we do it, when it's just really a power wash with a low dial. And don't brush this stuff because the rubber is embedded in it. However, we put a coating over top of this to lock the granules in. So we can do a little more abrasive cleaning if we need to in certain areas, but it does clean very well. So we don't have a problem. And when you do have some kind of, act of vandalism, people like to mark things up and do all those sort of things. It's hard to control. But these areas are easy to repair. It's like a piece of drywall. Since it is a polyurethane poured in place, you cut it out, you pour new material in, and broadcast a rubber. So you don't see any seam, just like a drywall patch. You only see a discoloration in the shading of the rubber granule.
I can kind of give you an example of that. When I was coaching at Auburn University, we laid down the surface, and of course, over a 10-year period, you get a lot of wear and tear, and a lot of dust and storms and rain and all that kind of stuff comes through. And we were hosting the SEC championship, and I was bidding to our athletic department that we wanted a new surface, but we wanted to put on a good show because the TV was coming in and all 9 yards. Well, I got a little bit ahead of myself, and I said, well, we're going to pressure wash the surface. When we pressure washed the surface and then restriped it, the AD told me, forget about it, we're not going to put the track in. It looked that good. I mean, it looked beautifully. It came back real good, and because a lot of it is just the wind, the rain, the dirt, all that just gets in there. But what you got to do is protect lane 1 from being worn out. Everybody, first thing everybody want to do is get in lane 1 and they run around and they just tear the lane up. So you got to get people to stay out of lane 1 and kind of move to the outside. The question I have not seen the stadium, but I had a question about it. How many lanes do you have in that stadium right
6
now?
lanes.
6? Okay. And do you have
Stands are right there.
and do you have a chute?
That's where we're going next.
Yeah. Do you have a chute for like the 100 meters?
Well, right now, the chute for the 100 meters also contains a high jump pit, what do you call the thing?
A
I know
vault
what you're
box?
talking
Yeah, box.
Vault box?
Vault box,
Yeah.
it contains that, so yes, it's not,
Yeah, that's not-
the area is just not, the long jump is located next to the fence. If you went by the track, it's located next to the fence as you enter the stadium, and it's about that much distance between the fence and the pit.
One thing real quick, as part of our service, and this is obviously is included in everything we do because we'd like to do business with you. We provide those design services because, and we know we deal with architects and engineers all over the country. We find more often than not that architects aren't familiar with doing sports facilities. We have in-house design capabilities. We can provide you free charge with 3 or 4 extra looks so you can kind of look, talk to your athletic department, see where they like the orientation of the events, and try to make all that work. We can adjust that with your footprint. Now, Coach Bird has something to talk to you about these stands in regards to the, sorry we might be going over a little bit of time, but I want to get as much in as you can.
I understand, Mr. Davidson, you were talking about the issue of the track and the actual footprint. One of the issues we had was we were going from a 440-yard track, 440, from a 7-lane to an 8-lane, and we had the same issue with the stands backed up into the track into lane 7, and we had to get to lane 8 so that if you want to hold a regional or if you want to hold a state championship or whatever, you've got to have 8 lanes scoring 1 through 8.
Yeah, we're not even considering a 6-lane track.
Yeah, so we ran into, you got to consider the cost factors. We did, $500,000 of moving the stadium back. It was an historic stadium, and we had to do that being a historic stadium, then which cost us a little bit more money because everything was grandfather claused in, so we didn't have to do certain things, and so we ran into some issues there, which were money factors. So those are things that you might want to look at and weigh.
Sure.
As far as, that's what I ran into as a coach and a director of a program. How do we, now we've got an additional $500,000 in moving those stands back, and then, how do we handle this with our SPLOST money that we were,
Right.
that we were voted in. So I just wanted to let you, we've
And,
got.
yeah, and obviously that's a factor, but you guys mentioned earlier that you guys work within a footprint and come up with a design, and you guys are the experts on this stuff. There may be other options. We may put the other 2 options on the football field side.
There you go. That's
Or
what
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
we're gonna rely on you guys to to look at it and say, this is how we can best use your space. And that,
Well, that's what he did for us, actually. He came in and did that with our stadium and tried to find a way to squeeze out that 8th lane.
And obviously, everybody's
So we
not
can do it.
alike, so yeah, we can accommodate.
Okay.
Once you get your decisions made, how you want to work things, we'd be glad. My contact information on the front of these booklets, feel free to reach out. Our website's available, pull it up. And I know you guys, I appreciate you guys allowing us to come here. I know you have other items to discuss. So let us know what we need to do. We can put together a scope of work, some specifications on what we think might fit your needs, and then see how it is, and we're workable, and, so thank you again. Appreciate it.
again, thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
Very much
Thank you,
appreciate it.
appreciate it. I have a question to ask the board. When are we looking to, or speculating on opening bids back up for this project and having a full discussion about this project?
I don't think we're gonna do anything of that nature until we start our new term. So after the first of the year, once, Mr. McTipkin's on, we'll begin to open up those discussions. I think the first thing that we have to open up is, dealing with James E. Bacon, and this would fall suit into that. So that's how we want to move forward with this at this time.
Okay, the only reason I was asking is I know we had already appropriated money for it. We put that money on hold because we were waiting, because of the budget situation we were in at the time. And I also know we also were waiting on the passage of the East Washington. Thank you, Wayne County. I really
Amen.
appreciate the support on that, so we can get the James E. Bacon project going and rolling. And I know that is our #1 priority, is the James E. Bacon project, to get it going and rolling. And I want that project to be efficient, and also for them to get what they deserve, not just piece things together. I'm adamant about that as well.
And later on, one of the later items, I'll give you a timeline. There's a lot of things we have to do before. I mean, we don't have any more money than we had before the East Plus passed, so,
Right.
and so there's a process we have to go through to coordinate our regular budget. At the same time, we did pass a bonds, and that's a whole other process, but we will discuss that a little bit later on tonight.
Dr. Brinson, for the sake of time, I want us to kind of move through here. Mr. Harris has to get on the road, he has training in the morning, so I want him to just move through this meeting here so we can take the
We
time.
can go as fast as you'd like to go, because what we have here, the next item is the board meeting dates. You've been provided those ahead of time, so if y'all are ready to take action on those, that's all we need. We really, the quicker we can get these out to the community and schools, the better. Any questions, concerns?
I say move to
Second.
Move in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Next item was the school calendar for next year. This is in line with the same school calendar we've had the last 3 or 4 years, other than maybe moving a professional learning day from maybe during the year to before school. There was one concern about teachers not really having a day off between Labor Day and Thanksgiving. But really the only option you got is to take away a professional learning day. I guess it'd be Columbus Day on the 14th, and make that a holiday for teachers, but then that puts teachers coming back a day earlier for professional learning day.
Now, as an educator, I personally would not mind coming back on August 1st instead of August 2nd and having October 14th, I guess that's the day, October 14th off as a holiday. And because that mentally, a lot of people don't understand that mentally it is a grueling occupation, and I can understand that in a classroom situation. I'm teaching PE. But when you're in that classroom teaching health, and you're going from September the 3rd or September the 5th to November, what date is that? November the 22nd. It's a long time before, you've had a time to go woosah and have that, mental relief and mental stress. And we need to keep our teachers fresh.
motion.
Can I ask the administrator, would y'all see a problem with coming back on August 1st versus that Friday, August 2nd? The date for teachers to come back is on August the 2nd.
They're gonna be up there anyway.
Exactly, they're gonna be back there, up there anyway, so why not let them come back August 1st, give them October 14th off? You're not really giving them anything, because they're still working that day. You're not giving them anything. You're just providing them opportunity to have something, a time with their family, to, you know, to do something during that month of October.
All right, do y'all want to give them time to look into this, or do y'all want to select this calendar?
I don't want to select this one. I've actually heard from some teachers, and they prefer to have that October off.
What's your recommendation, Dr.?
Also, I'm afraid that if you don't, some of them are gonna take off anyway.
That's an administrative issue there.
I know that's their day, but we're here to also look out for, I had forgot being an educator. I had forgot being a parent with kids and wanting to do things with my kids. I had forgotten that. So we can't forget our educators in the process of us making these decisions and stuff for them.
My position is, experience-wise, is teachers, they like to work, and they like to put it away, and giving them an extra day for summer outweighs,
Promise you,
you know, the Monday, but.
not on that, not you coming back on a Friday anyway. Like you said, how many times, you've been a principal, how many times have you seen teachers up there, they come back on Friday, but they've been up there since, July 29th, 2 weeks before, going to do things.
Yeah, and
So-
you're gonna see them on
so that-
October
so they're gonna-
14th too. if you
Yeah,
give
and
them
you
off.
can, and you may,
Right.
but that gives them an opportunity to have a choice whether to go up there on October the 14th or not, or whether to have that break or not. That gives them that choice.
Sure.
All right, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do you have a second? Do you have a second for motion? Let's call for a second for the motion. All right, at this time, that's going to die for lack of a second.
All right, next item is, we just need to take action to make the GSBA conference, an official meeting.
I so move.
Second.
Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next item, and we highlighted the part in this, in policy, DFC, in regards to federal funds. We're getting ready for our cross-functional monitoring visit in January. We were looking, this is something that's, you know, they're gonna look for, and we didn't think we had it, but we found it, it's embedded in this policy, so we don't need to create a new policy, but we do need to review this one. And we have revised it slightly. What it says, but anyway, we do need to take action on this policy to approve if you're ready to review. This is just in regards to conflict of interest, in regard to federal funds, which is governed by those oath of office that you've taken and
So
it's
we need to
governed
take
by.
action on it tonight?
If you're ready, yes.
I so move.
Second. Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and we have, Mr. Simmons has requested to put a 1990 Nissan pickup in the surplus. I think 29 years is a pretty good run, so put that in the surplus. Move on with it.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this time, Ms. Williams has the September financial statement.
I'll make a motion to approve September financial statement as presented.
Second.
Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Harris?
Yes,
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the next item is what I mentioned earlier about the East Bluffs results and bond issuance kind of timeline. Ms. Williams, you'll help me out with that? Oh, I'll skip over that. I'm sorry. Next item.
That's important.
Audit, yeah.
The audit.
We are finished with the audit.
The audit report. This is the FY17 audit report, and it's very long. All the board members should have received a copy of this. Did you get it via email? So when you're really bored, maybe when your DirecTV goes out or something, you can pull this out and read it. It's a very long report, but it does have a lot of financial statements in here based on FY17. Now, if you compared these to the financial report that you approved for June of FY17, they're not gonna match because there's a lot of audit entries that have to be made for pension liability and, health insurance liabilities and things like that. But we did have a clean audit report. We did not have any findings. I thought that I was gonna have to drive to Atlanta to get the audit report because the Department of Audits have had a lot of turnover in their staff, and it took them a while to get us our final report. But Mr. Ellis and Dr. Britson and I met with the auditor in charge and went over the report. This will be posted on our website for the public to review also. But, it's a lot of numbers. I don't wanna bore you to death, but has everybody had a chance to glance over it?
Last page.
The last page is what you look for. You wanna look and make sure we don't have any findings, and we did not. We had a clean audit report. And this is just for information only. Any questions?
And you posting that tomorrow on the
I will
website?
post this tomorrow.
Okay. No, she said just information.
Good job.
Hard work pays off.
Absolutely.
I was excited about this audit review for
Yes,
my 3 years of
yes.
serving. This was a good
It
one.
was.
About
It's
smiling.
a good one.
All right, we're good? Now, next item, I just wanted to begin that timeline. I know everybody's anxious to get projects rolling, but we do have to actually have some funds in the bank forward. And to do that, we have to go through the bonds process. The first step is having a resolution. I'll remind you, Raymond James and Company that has, in the past helped us through this process. They've already been working with us. They're drafting the resolution for us that certifies the East Bluffs results. And that's the first step to the legal process of us being able to, get the 16 million, be able to draw on the $16 million with the bonds. Ms. Tammy Thornton also has to certify something in the process. We're working on that now. So next meeting, we should be able to have the resolution ready for official approval, your signature, and then, then there has to be some court work done. So we're looking at probably middle of February before things are ready for your approval to have a closing. Those of you that were here last time recall we had to have a closing. The lawyers will be here. It's kind of like buying a house. I mean, it's official action. Have to have the legal eyes and T's crossed.
When did you think that would occur?
Timeline we've been given is about the middle of February. Should be ready to close, and then we have money in the bank shortly thereafter. All right, so that should help us with some decisions that we were talking about earlier. We have to have a plan to kind of make sure we have that cash flow at the same time, coordinate that with our regular budget discussions and plans for the next year.
And one of the discussions that we'll have to have is, do we want to sell all the bonds up front, or can we get the entire amount that we're eligible for? Or are we gonna do 2 or 3 separate bond sales?
When did the current one run out?
The current East Bluffs runs out June 30th, and the last payment on the bonds is in September. So So we have one interest payment and one principal and interest payment remaining. And we'll be done with that one.
One thing, just another timeline piece, is on the James E. Bacon project, we're still accumulating entitlement funds from the state, which means we need to go all the way to June 30th to earn as much free money, is what I call it, from the state. You know, we can start tomorrow, but we're leaving free money on the table, so we want to go all the way to June 30th. That ends the entitlement process, but we also have to make application to the state. It has to be approved. There'll be some final approval from you guys once it kind of works the process through the state DOE and that facilities department. So you're looking at the end of August, middle of August maybe, for final approval. We can begin the James E. Bacon project. One thing that we're gonna try to do to get a jump on it, we can start work on anything on that project that's not state funded. You know, I remind you, we're putting in we've committed, I think, $7 million on that project. You know, in addition to the $4.5 million we get from the state. So anything brick and mortar, we want to make sure we're using state money first, use up all that money. But like paving, any ground prep, we talked about the playground, getting this pickup and drop off situated. We're going to look into going ahead and make that a separate project where we can go ahead and begin that this summer, get something done this summer that will help the process further along, because we're trying to, there's some things that are going to have to be done during the summer, and there's some things we think we can get done during the school year and still have regular classes. But we're working on that timeline. Again, that's architect choreographed thing, but we'll communicate as we go through with that.
So what is the timeline on that gymnasium, AC, with that?
Yeah, that's a totally funded. That's brick and mortar. That's
So it's
state.
funded.
That's state money.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We want to wait on that and knock that out in the summer. You utilize a good bit of that money. That was one of the things we earned a lot of that entitlement money on, was the gym. The last thing, that certainly want to thank Wayne County for their support. I want to recognize that Children's First Committee and thank them for all their hard work. There's a few of them out there in the audience tonight. But Thursday, if you mark your calendars, Thursday, November 29th, we've got a little event planned down at the depot, just to kind of two things. We want to make kind of a social for board members and our administrators, and at the same time, we're going to invite that Children's First Committee to recognize them, thank them that night at 5, which is going to go from 5 o'clock to 6. 6 o'clock is the tree lighting. We're at the depot, so we try to piggyback it on, just having a real light social. We have some, heavy hors just spend some time together and recognize a few people, let a few people speak, and then we walk down there and watch the big Christmas tree lighting. But that's Thursday, November 29th at the depot. Any questions? All right. Last thing we got is the budget calendar. I don't think we made any changes to that, Ms. Williams, and that's worked well for us the last couple of years since we got that kind of ironed out in place. But we do need to take action and approve that if you're ready to do so.
So,
Second.
Moved and second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
And this will also be posted on our website tomorrow, as well as the audit report. There's one thing on our website that we've posted that I wanted to show you real quick, like for the board members and for the public. We have a link over here on the left on the finance page for House Bill 139. That's a requirement for us to link to Department of Education financial numbers. And as you see, when you click on that link, you can look up any county in the state of Georgia, but you can go pull up Wayne County. And then when you pull up Wayne County, it's gonna give you some financials. And there's several options to choose from. You can go down and look at revenues, you can look at all expenditures for the entire system, or look at each individual school's expenditures. But that is for the public. But I also wanted to point it out to the board members if you wanted to compare us to other districts and see how much we spend per student compared to other districts. Any questions on that?
All right, we're gonna move into executive session, a short executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or peer evaluation of a rating of officer or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent. Have a motion for executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to return back to regular session.
So moved.
Moved and second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Personnel recommendations for November the 13th, 2018, certified resignations: Eric Carter, James E. Bacon, Van Thornton, Martha Baker Middle School. Classified resignations: Rusty Harrison, Wayne County High School, and Kenneth Ward, Transportation. Motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations as presented.
Second.
Moved and second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
I don't have anything. Just go down.
Coach?
Just, once again, want to thank everybody for their support for the East Floss and, looking for a continued, good year as we move on.
That's what I was going to mention to the East Blocks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wayne County.
I'm good. All right, we'll adjourn by acclamation.
But, Ray Ray.
Yeah.
I'll see y'all another time.